In advocacy, we do several things in NAELA. First of all, we advocate for the rights of older Americans and for people with special needs. We're unique among trade group organizations that I'm familiar with in that we're not advocating for things that benefit us as practitioners. Really what we're doing is we're advocating for our clients. Lawyers, if we know the rules, we will use those rules as we can best apply them for our clients. And in advocating, what we're doing is we're trying to change the rules so they can be best for our clients. We try to function as impartial experts in our subject matter. We are not particularly aligned with either any political party or any particular organization outside NAELA. We try to do the best we can for our clients.
From a global perspective, public policy is what is going to protect you, your practices, and a byproduct of that is going to be protecting your clients as well. Jason Marsh?
Public policy is the center of what is the foundation for our practices. Our practices are based mainly on statutes that are created by Congress, and public policy is the avenue to make sure that what we do continues to be done.
I've been working with people with disabilities of all ages for 30 plus years. I am frequently in meetings with other lawyers and lay people who tell me that, gee, I must be at the cutting edge of this great practice that's going to be overwhelming for years. And I go, yeah, but what we do is completely a function of public policy. Congress decides one day that people with disabilities don't count, and we're all out of business. So what is critical to our practice is we obviously have to do well, but we do well by doing good. And that's what NAELA public policy strives to achieve.
Well, advocacy is an important part of NAELA's activities, and especially at the grassroots level. When attorneys engage in grassroots advocacy, they're doing several things. First of all, they're making the world a better place for their clients. Secondly, they are making themselves known among the community of their potential clients as they seek support for NAELA's initiatives.
NAELA's approach to public policy has evolved over time. When NAELA was a very young organization, we were advocates on behalf of the elderly and people with special needs, but the place that we came from was more trying to convince congressional leaders that proposed legislation might be harmful to our clients. We've evolved since then in very positive ways. Rather than just explaining to congressional leadership why proposed legislation might not be the best course of action and why it might be harmful to our clients, we've become a much more proactive organization advocating for the rights of the elderly and people with disabilities and proposing positive change in areas that impact our clients. And the most recent example of that is the Special Needs Trust Fairness Act, where we as an organization sought out sponsorship for a piece of legislation that allowed individuals with disabilities to themselves be able to create their own supplemental needs trusts. And we're continuing to move in that direction with the Public Policy Committee adopting as a core priority ending the institutional bias within Medicaid. It's a long haul, it's a big project, but these are ways in which our efforts have evolved from coming in at the 11th hour and saying this is a bad piece of legislation and moving more towards effectuating positive change. And the way we've been able to do that is by leaving just the democratic side of advocacy, which at the beginning of our history, that's where we put all of our eggs. And we've now moved more towards a bipartisan advocacy effort where we're trying to establish relationships not only with Democrats but also with Republicans. And we're also establishing ourselves very firmly with congressional leadership as subject matter experts in the area of elder law and special needs planning and healthcare planning, long-term care planning, so that when an issue comes up within Congress, the congressional leadership will reach out to NAELA first to try to educate themselves about the issues so that they are themselves well-versed in the issues before they take positions on them. And by becoming a credible source of information to the congressional leadership, that works to our advantage, because when it does come time for us to explain to congressional leadership why a certain provision or why a certain proposal may not be the best, we have established credibility with subject matter expertise instead of just coming at it from the standpoint of attorneys who represent clients in this area and trying to be protective of our own practices. So we've really evolved in very positive ways in the area of advocacy, and I think there's a lot more to come that we can look forward to.
What we want to do is advocate for our clients, and in so doing, benefit our practices at the federal level and at the state level, both nationally and at the grassroots, to follow through on this three-pronged approach of advocating in the legislature, in the regulatory agencies, and if and when necessary, in court, to make sure that our clients and necessarily our practices continue to succeed.
You know, one thing that we try to do at NAELA is to communicate, and communicate a lot. Read those e-blasts, the advocacy updates that you get in your emails. Jump onto the NAELA website, naela.org. Click on the public policy advocacy section. Really stay in touch with what is going on. Your membership dollars are hard at work here in NAELA to help protect you, your clients, and your practices.
And keep us informed of what's going on in your state so that we can help you. We can use the collective experience that NAELA chapters have had nationally, as well as in DC, to help you advocate against changes that don't work well for our clients and our practices, and for those that do.
And part of keeping us informed is to tell us your stories. Nothing resonates more powerfully than a story of one of your clients in the halls of Congress. They're coming up with various policies that they think would have a phenomenal fiscal impact. But what they sometimes forget is the policies that they put in place can actually hurt people. And those are the stories we always want to hear about, not just from one state or two or three, but from all 50. So please send us your stories.
NAELA members bring to the table their experience and, perhaps more importantly, the experiences of their clients in going through the maze of public benefits and other issues that confront them.
Our experience is with the clients, is with what happens to them, and we know where the system doesn't work, and we know how to make it better because we are in the trenches with our clients, trying to get for them the services that they need in order to be able to live and function in society.
That's well said, you guys. You know, when we are stating our positions in Washington regarding why a certain proposed policy would not be a good idea in the long-term care health system, the next question we're always faced with is, why? And what these two gentlemen just told you, we need a lot more of the whys. We know the whys from our own individual practices, but we need more from your practices. That's what you bring to the table. That's power. And we need to bring those stories to Washington because it's amazing how human we all are. Depends on whether doesn't matter if you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat or someone in the middle. We all do have a heart. We all do have a human side of us. And when you hear the human stories of what an impact of a proposition may do, it does tend to help us in our efforts. That's what you bring to the table.
Public Policy 101 is that there's always another election. So regardless of what the current climate is, there is always going to be somebody who is running for office and needs to know what is going on with their constituents, what is going on in their community. And so members can bring to the table that information which could affect future policy.
A young child who had a very nice malpractice settlement of $3 million. When we got involved, that sum of money was down to $50,000. And we needed to create a supplemental needs trust for her. It's a brand new law that went into effect in 1994. And when I read that provision, I realized that the only people that can create it for her is a parent, grandparent, legal guardian of the court. And it struck me because I also was on SSI myself, and here I am now a lawyer, and I said, oh my goodness, if I ever did fall back into that situation where I couldn't be employed and I had some savings, I couldn't sign my own trust. So NAELA took that bull by the horns, and after many, many years, a lot of effort for these two guys, Amos Grudal